Some of the biggest names in the industrial sector getting together at Goldman Sachs' Industrial and Materials Conference this week. I had the opportunity to attend the conference. I had a chance to speak with so many executives and lead industry analysts yesterday about what President-elect Donald Trump's policy agenda means for business. Very much the focus was not so much on the end of the year and what we have seen, but really how this is all going to play out in 2025. One of the conversations I had was with the co-president of HEICO, Eric Mendelson, and here's what he had to tell me.
Said I thought the Trump administration would be very positive for aerospace and defense. And the vast majority in private conversations, the vast majority of the CEOs and the executives with whom I speak feel 100% the same way. Sometimes they're a little bit concerned to speak out about it, but we think that it's going to be, it will continue to be very bullish. If you look at in the first Trump administration was very good for aerospace and defense. Just in general, an increase in confidence in the economy. People feel better, they have more money to spend, airlines expand, they buy aircraft, they fly the aircraft more, people travel more. We just think it's in general a very positive environment.
So, Maddie, when it comes to some of those expected policies here under the incoming Trump administration, you talk about tax cuts, you talk about scaling back regulation, really promoting domestic industries, which I think is something that really played to so many of the executives that I had a chance to speak with yesterday. And just sticking with HEICO, this is a stock that has outperformed. Taking a look at that year-to-date chart, shares have had this steady climb to the upside here, and you're looking at gains of just about 50%. So you can certainly see that excitement. It's held on since we got the results of the November election. I also had the chance to speak with the chair of Planet Labs Federal, and he was just talking to me, and this conversation was more so zeroing in on Musk's role in the administration, what ultimately that means for some of these space stocks here. When you take a look at Planet Labs, even just the last month, all the way out to the right hand of your screen, since Election Day, Maddie, this stock has actually risen about 80%. So I think that just really speaks to some of that excitement there. He was able to tell me that he did think that obviously Musk being or having an influential voice in the incoming administration is very, very positive here for the sector at large. And I think that very much echoes some of the sentiment that we have heard across the board from various industries just about what these incoming new policies are going to be, particularly on the scaling back of regulation has certainly been a common theme.
I think it's been really interesting to hear the optimism about the incoming administration's policies, given that we don't actually have any of those policies in place yet, but the market is pre-pricing in a lot of the impact. I love how you asked that follow-up about, well, why is that? Why will we continue to see more room to run for some of these sectors and names? And it's just this belief that because of the economic team surrounding Trump, including the likes of Elon Musk, that a lot of those policies are going to come to fruition.
Yeah, and what's so interesting is that there is so much optimism, right? But on the flip side, there is some hesitation. And I brought that up. And two of the themes that kept coming up in my conversations yesterday, one was about tariffs, two was about cuts in spending, what ultimately that means for the defense companies. But I want to zero in on tariffs because that is such an important issue as you look ahead to 2025 and exactly when that fallout it could potentially occur in 2026. And here's what Mendelson told me about how HEICO is thinking about the potential threat of more tariffs.
We do have our eye on it. We've always been very fair with our customers with regard to price increases, so we do intend on passing that along to our customers should that impact this market. I think there's some talk about aerospace and defense maybe being slightly exempt from some of that, but we're going to have to see where that ends up.
So the sector might not be the hardest hit when you compare it against some of the others that have a little bit more exposure, but clearly it is a concern, and it's something that many management from many companies are thinking about as they try to adjust their playbook for the next several years and how exactly they are sourcing some of their material, where they have their manufacturing plants. And Maddie, Stanley Black & Decker, their CFO, also making some comments just about diversifying their supply chain away from China. It's a strategy that they have implemented and really have worked on over the last several years. But he actually made the comment that this administration might actually accelerate, maybe to no surprise, accelerate the pace of reducing exposure to China. And as it stands right now, they get about a quarter of what the company sells is from China. That might sound like a lot, but that was down from about 40% a decade ago. So they have been trying to lessen their exposure there. It is a concern for the stock. You are looking at a year-to-date chart of the fact that the stock is off just about 13%. So clearly underperforming the the sector at large, underperforming the broader market at large. So tariffs is a real risk to this sector, and we're seeing some of these executives, some of these companies adjust right now in preparation for that.
And as always, Seana, you brought us amazing reporting from your on-the-ground experience with Goldman. So thank you for bringing us those conversations. Always appreciated, of course.